Back with me today to discuss is retired Navy commander and a former Pentagon spokesperson from the Office of the Secretary of Defense, J.D. Gordon. Commander, thanks for coming back.
Hi, Liz. Great to see you.
First of all, let's start out with a little background. The ROTC stands for Reserve Officer Training Corps, and in a nutshell, it's a college program that prepares students to be military officers by the time they graduate from college. Can you give us a little more history on the ROTC?
Yeah, absolutely, Liz. It's been a great win for America. We've had ROTC for 99 years. There are about 1,000 units throughout the country. And ROTC provides about 40% of the commissioned officers for the military. I'm a proud graduate myself. I went to Penn State Navy ROTC, and it changed my life. And you know what? It was some of the best 4 years of my life. I just hope that ROTC can continue. I just had a column talking about ROTC and can it survive on campus these days. And, you know, I'm pretty scared based on what we're seeing today around college campuses and universities. It really frightens me. I hope that they can hang in there and survive.
Yeah, one of my good friends did an ROTC program at Marquette. He's a naval officer now, and it was a great experience for him as well. But you recently said it was a win-win for America to have these programs on campus. Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, it's a win-win because so many Americans get to serve their country in uniform, and so it's a win-win for America to have great patriots who serve on an all-volunteer force. And it's a win for them, too, because the military pays for their college. I was on a Navy ROTC scholarship, so my 4 years at Penn State were paid for by the military. So, yeah, it's been a win-win for 99 years of our history. But I'm afraid that we're going to see the days, Liz, like we saw during the Vietnam War, when a lot of ROTC units were actually attacked. Many were closed around the country. That was in the 1970s, because that was during the Vietnam War era when a lot of people on campus, a lot of professors saw that the ROTC was an accessory to Vietnam, which they called a crime. So basically those people now, the hippie protesters that were pretty much the flower power generation, well, they're now in their 60s mostly, and they run universities today. And look what they've done, Liz. They've created a generation of pyromaniacs, and now they're surprised when they burn places down because they're teaching kids the wrong history lessons about America.
Right, and we already hear reports about there being picketers outside of ROTC units or ROTC cadets being told not to wear their uniforms around campus because it makes them a target for these picketers or protesters. And then we have earlier this year, a student from Brown University actually wrote an op-ed and called ROTC cadets criminals. The student also said that ROTC is state-sponsored, similar to, like you were saying, the Vietnam protesters. Do you have a response to this?
Yeah, I think they should get a grip because once they weaken the U.S. power like they're trying to do they think Russia's going to be any better in the world as a leader, or Iran, or the Saudis? I mean, the United States has stood for freedom since our history. And I think that they're learning the wrong lessons today. You know, when I was a kid, and even through college, when we learned about the Founding Fathers, Liz, as I wrote in my column, we learned about why they wanted liberty so much. We learned about the original Tea Party. We learned about how good the country is. But today, the focus is on how many slaves these guys had, how many slaves they fathered, right? I mean, it's just insanity. Today, when we learned about World War II, so many kids, instead of learning about how we saved the world from the Nazi grip and from the Imperial Japanese onslaught, right? They learn about the incarceration of Japanese American internment camps instead of German Americans. So they basically are hearing from their professors that we have a racist country. We have everything bad that's coming to us. That's the mentality. By the way, Liz, that's the same mentality that led to Barack Obama being elected. And he's putting that mentality into practice right now. I believe that's why he's weakening America, because he believes in the same things they're teaching kids on campus these days, that America is not the beacon of freedom, that we are not fit to lead morally, that we're the country of slavery and Jim Crow laws. Our universities today, Liz, they've got it backwards. I just hope we can turn it around before it's not too late.
Right. I think you have a great point. And I've said this before, and I'll say it again. I think that our generation, my generation, millennials between the ages of 18 and 34, we have lived in an era that nobody else has. We have never had anything denied to us. And I'm not talking about material items. I'm not talking about gifts or things that we wanted. I'm talking about opportunity. We have never had to fight for our freedom. There's only a very small percentage of my peers who have fought for freedom, who have had their rights and liberties threatened, and who have stood up, who have offered to give their lives for their own freedom and for the freedom of others. And without that reality, without that perspective, a lot of people in my generation take for granted the opportunity, the freedom that we have, and where it stems from.